Less than 24 hours left for US President Donald Trump's 10-day deadline to Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz or face increasing attacks on the country. Welcome to another episode of Let Ali Show You. American and Israeli attacks continue on Iranian targets, civilian infrastructures across the country. So far, the Americans have not just attacked military targets, but they're also attacking hospitals, pharmaceutical plants, civilian infrastructure, including the electricity grid, as well as bridges. Meanwhile, Iran has shot down American fighter jets and says it is prepared for any eventuality, including a ground offensive. Where does Iran stand, and what is the next move? And more importantly, how are Iranians coping with this entire war that has been imposed on them? To get a better idea of what is going on inside Iran, I'm joined by Fereshteh Sadeghi. She has been a contributor to the show before. Thank you so much for joining us, Fereshteh. And first of all, tell us, as an Iranian living inside Iran, what are you and millions of other Iranians going through at this very moment?
Salam alaikum. Hello to you and your audiences. I'm very proud to be again part of your program. The general mood in Iran is positive. You know, we are in a month, more than a month, that we are in a war. Our leader has been assassinated. A lot of military commanders and around 3,000 Iranian citizens have been killed in this 1 month, more than 1 month, 33 to 34 days. People are mourning the dead, but at the same time, they are very spirited. Their morality are high, and they are just thinking about defeating the enemy. Every night, every single night, people are on the streets. They get together on main streets, corner streets, small towns, big cities, makes no difference. Even in small villages, they get together, they chant, they rally around, and they express their support for the armed forces, for the government, and for the Islamic Republic as a whole in its fight against this, you can say, the abstain coalition, which includes the US and Israeli regimes.
It's been, as you mentioned, more than a month since the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was martyred, while negotiations were being carried out in Switzerland between the Iranian delegation and the Americans, and the Israelis attacked. Not only that, they killed 168 schoolgirls in the town of Menab. Since then, various other leaders have been assassinated, including Ali Larijani, and many more. 3,000 people killed, infrastructure destroyed. What is the spirit like? You said that the Iranians are positive, but the damages are significant, and 3,000 people being killed is not a small amount. And it seems that this is only increasing. The idea then was that, you know, the Iranian government will collapse in 3 days after the Ayatollah's martyrdom or his killing. That's what they were claiming. But now, 33, 34, even more days in, it seems that the Iranians have unified as opposed to fragment.
Yeah, you know, Iranians are really patriots. Even the ones that they are, I think it was the Prophet Muhammad, he has a hadith. It said, Hubbul Watan min al-Iman, means that if you are a believer, you will love your country, your motherland. So Iranians have very strong bonds with their country, with their land, with our motherland. At the same time, you know, we are Shia, and we are the Shia of Imam Hussein. And Imam Hussein didn't accept, as Ayatollah Khamenei, in his last speech before he was martyred, he said that a person like me, he quoted Imam Hussein, and he said, a person like me doesn't pay allegiance to a person like Yazid. So he made it clear that a person like him doesn't agree, doesn't accept, doesn't obey by, Trump, a person, an Epstein client such as Trump, President Trump. And then this is the same thing for Iranian people, all these years we didn't chant, we didn't beat on our chest for Imam Hussein. Just when the time comes to give back that lesson that we learned from Karbala, then we say, oh, we are afraid of war. Yes, it is war. We know that. The destructions of, the infrastructure are heavy. Our petrochemical industry, our steel industries, our power plants, even the dams, water reservoirs have been attacked. That's apart from the, medical health centers, hospitals, what else? Schools, numerous people have been killed. As you said, 3,000, around 3,000. It is devastating, but we went through an 8-year war that was imposed against us by Saddam Hussein. And back then, it was the same American regime, that's under another president, President Reagan, and then the Soviet Union, and then the entire Europe. Back then, they were helping, aiding, and also the Arab monarchies in the Persian Gulf. All of them were helping the Saddam's war machine against Iran. We went through those years, 8 years. We lost 300,000 souls, martyrs, and we didn't give in. We didn't give in an inch of our land. We didn't give in to the aggressor. And at the end of the day, this time around, we know that this period of war will finish, and we will be the victorious. So the morale of people on the streets are high. And sometimes, sometimes I just feel ashamed of myself. I say, oh, look at these people. They come to the streets, despite the fact that they know that maybe now jets come and they attack. And, they are attacking civilian people. Although they say we don't, they do. So these people come with their children, with their old women, on wheelchaired men, wheelchaired women. They come to the streets, and this, I can say, this excitement and this show of resilience is really unbelievable.
Trump has sounded almost unhinged. He says that he will send back Iran to the Stone Age, that if you don't open the Strait of Hormuz, his demands also keep on changing. And you mentioned the Gulf Arab states, and the Gulf Arab states say that we have nothing to do with this. So why is Iran attacking us? We were good neighbors. Why is Iran targeting, for example, energy infrastructure in the UAE or in Bahrain? How would you respond to that?
Before the war starts, I remember Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, it was almost a year, that Iranian people, Iranian officials, Iranian diplomats, even the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, we call him Qa'id Shahid, they were warning all the Arab states in our neighboring countries that, look, if you allow the United States to use your soil, to use the bases that they have on your soil to attack us, then we will retaliate, because we don't have any access to US mainland. The only land that we have from the US are its bases, which your countries are peppered with, those bases, military bases. So all around Iran, from you can say Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Iraq, especially northern Iraq, in Kurdistan region, and then to downwards towards Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the Emirates, and more importantly, Saudi Arabia, and then to Jordan, and even to Syria. The United States has bases, and it uses all these bases on daily basis to attack Iran. So what would you do if you were in our shoes? Okay, so Iranians didn't have any, and Iranians always play a fair game. We didn't harm the citizens of those countries. Whenever Iran wants to hit any location on those on those countries' soil, Iran announced it from before that please, and even the infrastructure that Iran is targeting, for example, the aluminum complex in Bahrain or in Emirates or the gas fields or the gas, I think gas refineries on Qatar soil, they are the ones that Americans are their shareholders. I mean, Iran doesn't attack just simply an Arab entity which only belongs to an Arab country. It only targets the complexes, the infrastructure, the industrial groups that they belong either to the Americans or the Americans have a share in them, in those, complexes and industrial groups. So I think the only way that they can stop these attacks is that to tell the United States, to tell Trump, that get the hell out of our land, close them. And I mean, you know, nowadays, I think it's been some days that Iran doesn't attack Qatar, because it seems that, and I don't have any news about it, but according to my own understanding, it seems that Qatar has limited the U.S. Access to the Al Udeid base on its soil, and the U.S. doesn't attack Iran from Al Udeid. Okay, in June, the main base that was targeting Iran was from Al Udeid in Qatari soil. But nowadays, it seems that Qatar has limited U.S. access to Al Udeid. At least it's my understanding. So Iran doesn't attack Qatar anymore. So this is the same thing, especially unfortunately about Saudi Arabia. I hope if any citizen or Saudi official hears my voice, I hope that they stop allowing the Trump administration to use Al-Kharaj or Al-Sultan air base in Saudi Arabia, because all the American fuel tankers, they fly from the Saudi Arabia, they get refueled over Saudi airspace. Those air tankers, they fly from a Sultan air base on Saudi soil, and they come and they drop bombs, I think 2,000-pound bombs on my people. So if Saudi Arabia, if Arab countries want to de-escalate these attacks, and if they want to find a solution to this war, they should stop allowing the US to use their soil. I mean, Saudi Arabia can be a big help, but so far it has refused to do so.
Former Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif came out with an article a few days ago in which he said that Iran should declare victory and a unilateral ceasefire. What do you make of his comments, first of all? And are you concerned that if the Americans do launch a ground offensive, a ground operation, how would Iran respond in your view?
Okay. First of all, let me make it clear to you and to your audiences that Javad Zarif has no official job. He is only a professor at the University of Tehran, Faculty of, I think, International Relations, something like that. So he is in no position whatsoever to dictate Iran what to do and what not to do. And unfortunately, the article that he has written, and it has raised a lot of controversy inside the country. Let me open a parenthesis here and tell you that last night on the streets, at the squares, people were chanting against him. They were saying that we don't accept a traitor, no to one who wants to make concessions. And it seems that, unfortunately, former Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, he has stuck in 2015 in his nuclear deal, which he always blamed the IRGC, and he always blamed General Soleimani for the collapse of the, you know, it is very disappointing and it is very saddening that he never ever blamed the Americans for what happened to the deal, because Iran was holding its end of its end of the bargain. Iran was committed to its commitments that they were made. Even 1 year after the US left that deal, Iran was still committed. And the Americans, and it was the same President Trump that left the deal in 2018. So it seems that Javad Zarif is still stuck in 2015. He doesn't understand that, man, 10 years have passed. Many things have happened. Twice the country has come under attack while it was in the middle of negotiation. So you can't, again, talk about a sort of making concessions. Nowadays, I guess the only card that Iran has its own hand is the Strait of Hormuz. And then you come and say Iran should unilaterally open the Strait of Hormuz, which is not closed, but it is selectively open. Let's put it in this way. So you can say, okay, you become the volunteer. You allow everybody, including the American and Israeli and European vessels, pass through the Strait of Hormuz. The price of oil comes down. The price of, I don't know, other entities, other commodities come down. And then instead, what Iran can get, you know? So I think whatever he says, it is his own fantasies. And it seems that he doesn't understand that the world has changed. Iran has changed. Iranian people have changed. Iranian people don't accept such, you can say, such cheap solutions anymore. And then in his article, again, he speaks about giving up the 440 kilograms of 60% highly enriched uranium. And then again, bring back the uranium enrichment to 3.67%, which was what he agreed with under the JCPOA. And I'm really sad to say that the supreme leader, the martyred Ayatollah Khamenei, many times he said that my red lines were crossed during the 2015 deal, and they say, oh, it's okay, we reached the deal, you know. So this is my response to Javad Zarif. He can't get anything from this kind of cheap solutions, cheap, outdated, and worn out. So about the ground invasion, as you said in your introduction, Donald Trump has again threatened Iran that it gives Iran 48 hours or so, or it starts pounding our power plants. So let him target our power plants. He has already done everything. This is his last resort. If he thinks that by destroying Iranian power plants, Iran returns to Stone Age, he is deadly wrong. And Iranians are not fearful of the ground invasion. Actually, I hope your audiences have watched what Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said to an American anchor or presenter. He said that let them come, we are waiting for them. There is a campaign, let me tell you, Iran has almost 1 million army service members, the IRGC, and some groups affiliated with the IRGC that are the besieged groups. They can be armed at any moment. And then in addition to that, a campaign has started. It is we sacrifice our soul for Iran. And up to now that I'm talking to you, 10 million Iranian people, more than 10 million, have volunteered to be deployed to the southern islands to defend Iran against the invaders. 10 million people. And what's the population of Jews in Israel? I'm not talking about the Palestinians who are the residents of Israel. Jews are 7.2 million in Israel, and at least 10 million people have volunteered to join the war in the south in case the US invades Iran. And it seems that President Trump hasn't understood the facts on the ground that Iranians die, but they don't give up land. They don't surrender. This is what Imam Hussein taught us 1,300 years ago, and we will continue that path, and we won't surrender to President Trump and to a person like President Trump.
So how do you see this ending? I have a few other questions, but I just want to get quickly your reaction. If Javad Zarif's comments, if there is no negotiation, if there is no settlement, how does this end, or where does this end in your view?
Every war will end by a sort of settlements, but the settlements that Iran seeks is not what Javad Zarif says. Iran is not ready to make more concessions anymore, okay? The Strait of Hormuz, Iran will impose its legal regime on the Strait of Hormuz, which, by the way, let me explain it to your audiences, that the Strait of Hormuz is not located in international waters. It belongs and it is located in Iranian territorial waters and Oman's territorial waters. So the legal regime about the Strait of Hormuz just can be decided by Iran and Oman, not as Javad Zarif says Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, I don't know, whoever, XYZ. So this is number one. The United States should understand and should accept this fact that Iran will not give up the Strait of Hormuz. Number two, this is the United States and Israel that should stop the war, should stop the aggression. They should announce the unilateral ceasefire, and even then, Iran will decide it will continue the strikes on Israel or not. And the other thing is that they have to pay war reparations. We have lost lives, we have lost infrastructure, we have lost billions of dollars, and they have to pay it. It's not like, and the fourth and more important one is that the United States should leave the West Asia region. So long as the United States keeps its bases on Arab soil, 6 months later, he will return, he will attack us. But if it doesn't have any boots on the ground, if it doesn't have any, I don't know, jets on the ground in its bases, then it will be more difficult for it to attack Iran from, I don't know, from those old aircraft carriers which one of them has already fled the region.
There's this idea that, can Iran actually trust the Americans? And that brings me to Pakistan. In the past few days, there has been a lot of effort by Pakistan, by the Pakistan government, to get a negotiated settlement. We had the foreign ministers of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, and the Pakistani foreign minister meet in Islamabad. There was talk that there was back-channel communication. There were also rumors that the US Vice President J.D. Vance would be coming to Pakistan to meet an Iranian delegation, and then news came out that the Iranians had no intention of coming to Islamabad or Pakistan, and this was run by the Americans. And now, just a few hours ago, Abbas Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, has come out and said that these are all rumors, that we appreciate Pakistan's role in trying to find a solution to this entire episode. How do you see Pakistan's role in all of this, given that it has sided with the Trump administration on the Gaza border of peace, and now it's trying to find a solution? Pakistani oil tankers or flag-bearing tankers, Pakistan flag-bearing tankers, have been allowed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without paying any duties by the Iranians. What is Pakistan's role, and what about the efforts that Pakistan is trying to do to find some sort of ceasefire or negotiation in all of this?
Actually, I think I myself, as an Iranian, and as Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said, we really appreciate Pakistan's efforts. But, the wall of trust has been destroyed, has been bombed, has been struck by Israeli missiles, by American bombs. There is no wall. There is nothing that we can trust the United States. So Iran has set its conditions. It is up to the other side. Tomorrow, the United States, the Trump regime says, okay, we'll accept this. Okay, Iran will stop it. That's as simple as that. It is up to the United States and up to Israel to stop this war, because they were the aggressors. And the saddening thing is that the entire world, Europe, everybody, nobody dares condemn the United States about this aggression. It was an illegal aggression, and they continue to bully the Iranians. And so long as the United States is bullying, let him bring his soldiers, and when they return to the United States by their coffins, and then I think the US people, the American people, will force him to finish this war, this disaster, this debacle.
So the Pakistani position for you is, it doesn't matter, we appreciate it, but it is the Americans that need to stop this.
Exactly.
And finally, the UAE has sided with the Israelis. There's talk that the Saudis and the UAE might actually join the fighting, that they're not backing down. And so much already has been invested in this. There's so much disruption already for oil, for gas around the world. There's talk of a global recession. Is Iran prepared to carry this on for months or even longer? And how long does this continue?
Iran can continue this war for months, on and on and on. And about Emirates, let me tell you something. Its navy has 3,000 personnel, not more than that. its ground forces are 5,000. What do they want to do when they're facing 1 million Iranian soldiers? What the hell they are going to do? You know, these are just media hype. We have been here for thousands of years, at least 2,500. I mean, and Iran had a real government since the Safavid era I think in 16th century or 17th century. We've been here. We've never attacked those neighbors. Everybody knows it. It is something that is a historical record. And the United States will leave this area, but Emirates will remain on this land, on this area in West Asia. And if they dare attacking Iran, then they should think about not tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. They should think about the next decade and what would Iran can do with them. So I think they are playing with fire. The same thing is with Saudi Arabia. I hope Saudis are more reasonable than Emiratis. I hope that the King and Prince Mohammed bin Salman think rationally and think about their own interest rather than Israel's interest.
There's also been rumors in Israeli media, and the Americans have said that that the new Ayatollah, Mujtaba Khamenei, the son of the martyred Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been injured or severely injured. They're casting doubts on if he might still be alive. There have been statements that have come out, audio statements that have come out. Can we expect to see Mujtaba Khamenei, the new Ayatollah, anytime soon? Or what's the strategy there? And the assertion by Trump that the old regime is now gone and the new regime is more pliant or reasonable. How would you respond to that?
Actually, it seems that when it comes to the IRGC, whoever succeeds the other one, I mean his predecessor, whoever comes after his predecessor, it is, I can say, I'm sorry, but I can put it in this way. They are more radical than their predecessors. When it comes to the IRGC commanders, yes. And about Ayatollah Sayyid Mujtaba Khamenei, he is alive. But the fact is that Americans and Israelis and these media reports, most of them are to encourage Iranians to show something of him, and then they can find him and assassinate him. This is the fact. So long as they even assassinated a former, they tried to assassinate a former foreign minister, Kamal Kharrazi. He was the foreign minister about 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and they tried to assassinate him. They tried to assassinate President Pezeshkian, Parliament Speaker Ghalibaf, I don't know, a judiciary chief, Chief Justice Ejei, and then let alone the leader of the country. Iranian people, they put their trust on Ayatollah Sayyid Mujtaba Khamenei, Hosseini Khamenei. We don't need to hear his voice. We know that he is somewhere. He could have sustained some light injuries, not heavy injuries. He is able to lead the country. He's actually leading the country, and we trust him. And we know that when the time comes for him, when this war ends and there is no danger of assassination, we will see him. We will see him on TV. We will see him. Some people will visit him, and the things will be as usual. But the point is that so long as we haven't broken this vicious circle of attacking, killing, assassinating, destroying infrastructure, okay, now ceasefire, then starting threatening, and then starting with the war again, assassinating every 6 months. So long as we haven't broken this vicious circle, this story will continue. And the Iranian people are determined to break this circle.
Fereshteh Sadeghi, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best, and we hope that you and your people remain safe and that you emerge victorious against all forces that are attacking you and have pushed you into this war. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. Do like, subscribe, and share this content. I will see you soon. Till then, take care.